Hello, everyone, and welcome to Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. I'm your host, retired NYPD Sergeant Bill Cannon, a 27-year veteran of the NYPD. Today, we have a follow-up to the continuing saga of Sarah Boone, who has just rejected a plea deal. A plea deal which would have ensured that she would take a plead guilty to manslaughter, where the sentence could be no more than 15 years. And potentially she could be out because she's already served 4. She could be out in 4 years with good behavior if the Department of Corrections decided that she deserved such a plea. However, she resoundingly just rejected the plea. Again, this is the woman who has gone through 8 attorneys in 4 years, and that's why this case has taken so long to go to trial. 8 attorneys. Think of that. She's on her 9th attorney. Why, you may ask, can't her attorney convince her that pleading to manslaughter is in her best interests? I think what this must be is that she must just want the limelight. She just wants to be in the limelight, wants this to be about her. And you want this to be about you so that you can potentially be sentenced to either 22 to life or 25 to life, and perhaps serve the rest of your life in prison. I don't know why no one can convince her that it's in her best interest to plea to manslaughter, but I guess I should know because she's gone through 8 attorneys. So obviously she's not an easy person to deal with, or the attorney who's representing her now would be able to convince her, like, hey, take a plea. Take this plea. It's in your best interest because you haven't been doing well in court. You haven't been well. We haven't been doing well with the judge ruling in our favor on legal issues. Your testimony was a disaster. Maybe you should take a plea. But guess what? She is not listening. She is her own woman, and she's going to suffer the consequences of her stupidity, because clearly the damaging video that they have to show in this court is going to get her convicted. So anyway, folks, hold on to your hats. Hold on to your loved ones. Hold on to your best friend. You're about to enter true crime from a police perspective. You're about to enter the off-the-cuff zone, the police off-the-cuff zone. There has to be some common sense.
Yes, sir. They have a car stop in Tampa Ranch, Michael Byler.
We still don't know who pulled the trigger.
We have a new sponsor. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on over $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet Online, the game starts here. So this case of Sarah Boone is just, it's sort of hard to understand what the hell is going on here. And in court today, The case was put off because of Hurricane Milton. So the jury will not be chosen till I believe it's Monday the 14th. So I'm going to play this from Court TV in regards to what's going on with this case and to actually see Sarah Boone reject the manslaughter plea.
Let's watch the judge.
Thank you so much for letting me know your positions. As we just discussed, as of 10:46 this morning, the chief judge has decided to close all courthouses due to Hurricane Milton, both Wednesday, October 9th and Thursday, October 10. The court anticipates that operations will return to normal on Friday, October 11th, but that's due to the court's continued close monitoring of the impacts of the storm. Due to the potential storm and the ramifications of it, the court is going to postpone jury selection in this matter till Monday, October 14th at 9 a.m. Mr. Owens, please provide the court the order with regard to the clothing and shoes, and we'll address that as necessary. As also requested, please provide my judicial assistant your cellular telephone numbers before you leave today. With that, the court is in recess, and we will see you all on Monday, October 14th. Thank you. Ms. Boone will be returned to the custody of the Orange County Jail pending jury selection. We're off the record. Thank you.
All right, there it is. Sarah Boone was supposed to sit and watch jury selection take place today. Now, earlier this morning, she had a chance to take a deal. The state announced in open court that they were ready to give her a deal of 15 years if she pled guilty for the lesser charge of manslaughter. Right now, she's facing a second-degree murder conviction, which has a minimum of 22 years. Here is that moment where Sarah says no.
Do you understand that if we were to proceed to trial in this matter, and if you were found guilty, the lowest permissible sentence that the court could levy in this case would be 22.5 years in the Department of Corrections? Do you understand that? Do you understand the state's offer to resolve this case? Okay.
The offer is 15 years to a lesser included charge of manslaughter, with the understanding that she would serve 85% of that sentence.
That's up to the department and her behavior, but that is my understanding of the section.
Ma'am, understanding the state's offer, do you wish to accept or reject the state's offer to resolve this case?
Reject.
Oh,
That is incredible. That is just beyond the pale that she rejected a plea to manslaughter. And she's already done 4 years. So she's at what? She's at 9. And possibly, she's done 4. So she'd owe 11. But because of the provisions in the criminal justice system, potentially she could only maybe do another 4 or 5. So she could be out in 4 or 5 years. Instead, she just out and out rejected it. And she wants to go to trial. And after trial, which she will be found guilty because she is guilty as hell. And when they show that video, it's so damning. And how does she just do that? I mean, is it that she's a narcissist and wants her day in court? Wants this all to be about her, loves the attention? Is that what this is about? That's what it seems like it's about to me. Let's get back to live court TV here.
oh man, she rejected that offer. That's 8. You heard that it was 15, but she would serve 8. And she's already done, I believe, 4 in jail, go ripping through these 9 attorneys. She's 4 years away from getting out if she accepted that deal. And she said no. Oh, Deputy Public Defender in Los Angeles County, Philip Dubay, is here. He's been sitting next to clients for decades, listening to their offers and rejections and this. Where does this stand? I mean, this to me seems like a no-brainer. Take it, take it, take it.
Suitcase Sarah is a classic example of why we have a job. Okay, Ted, listen, she's the type of client where you need to double team her, meaning you bring in at least 2 lawyers from your firm or your office to sit her down and tell her to knock off the cock and bull and take the deal. Because when she gets out, she'll be 56. She'll have a whole life ahead of her. You know, she's already been in for 56 months. I believe she got arrested on this in February of 2020. So she'll still be a relatively young woman. Worse yet, when you do the legal analysis, I think the best she can hope for from the jury is a manslaughter. They define it as follows. All they have to do is prove that she committed an act, not in self-defense, that caused death. That's it. All they have to do is hit the play button and show the jury that video of him struggling for breath in that suitcase. And they've basically proven of manslaughter beyond a reasonable doubt. So what does that get her? The 15 years that they're offering now. Homegirl needs to take the deal and shut up and go do her time.
Yeah, because the chances of a second, while obviously the state is a little bit worried about their case because it is complex. That video, she's not only listening to him, she's taunting him. And there's only 6 jurors that are going to be deliberating in the state of Florida. It's not a 12-person jury. You could just feel this thing going south very quickly, especially if, like they've articulated, their defense is going to be battered spouse syndrome.
Yeah, the only way out of this is to prove some form of self-defense. Because again, they have to prove she committed an act that caused death that was not excusable, meaning it was not in self-defense. And if they think that a battered woman syndrome expert is going to save the day, it's very risky. I would rather take my 15 with all the credit I've got in and be out at age 56 rather than risk life in prison. But she's willing to roll the dice. It's really unfortunate. And this is, again, a classic example of why a few attorneys need to sit her down and explain the risk. And then you can note your files, say she's been advised, and if she goes down on it, she has nobody to blame but herself.
And now it makes sense that she's gone through all these attorneys. We had sort of speculated that the state maybe was offering and she was rejecting, and this, and I think that the state was very eager to get this out on the record and into the public forum. Well, the Hurricane Milton storming towards, or basically Orlando.
Well, this is sort of unprecedented that she's not taking the advice of her attorneys. She's disregarding the advice of her attorneys, and she's talking about taking it to trial. Now, if you were her attorney, you'd want to like shake her by the back of the neck and say, "What are you, stupid? What are you, an idiot? You've done 56 months, 4 more months, you've done 5 years." And I was unaware they're saying that potentially she could only wind up having to do 8 years. So she's closer to, if she pleads guilty, she's closer to getting out than staying in, but she doesn't want to listen. And again, as I said, she is a narcissist. This is all about her. She loves the attention. And that's one of the reasons she's gone through 9 attorneys, or 8, and she's on her 9th attorney. And when they see this in a court of law, the jury is going to just be like, "You've got to be kidding me." The suitcase. He's crying out. "Sarah, let me out."
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
As she says that, "For everything you've done to me," there it is. It's like, this is your retribution. This is my payback. This is me locking you in the suitcase and not coming to your assistance, even though by leaving you in that suitcase, you're surely going to die. And when you listen to her speech, she's drunk as hell. And the jury won't like that either.
You.
Sarah.
You.
Sarah.
Stupid.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Sarah, I can't breathe, babe. Seriously,
Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me.
Sarah. Sarah,
Basically begging for his life,
Sarah,
and she doesn't care.
Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
That's on you.
That's on you.
Sarah, I can't breathe.
It's on you.
Sarah,
Real or ransom. Might want to get video for it extra. Because I got this.
Sarah,
Real or ransom.
Sarah. Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
Oh. That's what I feel like when you cheat on me.
Sarah,
She said something about him cheating on her, and again, she's trying to get retribution maybe for past deeds. So this is his punishment, and she's going to lock him in a suitcase. Oh, by the way, someone asked in the chat, how did she get him in the suitcase? I don't think she got him in the suitcase. I think he was drunk and they were playing games, drunk games, and he got into the suitcase and she zipped it closed. And now here he is begging for his life, and she don't want to hear it. She don't want to help him.
Yeah.
breathe, Sarah.
Yeah. You should probably shut the up.
Sarah,
Now that's just over 2 minutes of the video.
Yeah, that's just 2 minutes of the video. What about the rest that the jury sees? The rest that they watched, the torture that she did. How about the fact that he also had bruises on his body that she kicked him down the stairs while he was inside the suitcase? That's really nice too. That was nice of her. That's an extra little charm. And she was interrogated by detectives. I'm going to show a little bit of that. It just shows you what this lady's all about, and this is the interview she did with the detectives. What they tricked her to come down there, that's okay. That's part of the ruse that law enforcement's allowed to use.
No, I was not drunk. Right. I was not drunk. So with him, I don't know. I know when it's like, oh, okay, man, where I have told him, slow down. It's starting to catch up with you. Slow down. Slow down. And another thing too is I don't like listening to music with him because he gets too involved in the music, and the music that he listens to is a little rough around the edges, and it makes me fractious listening to his music. So I kept asking him, let's just you and me talk. You and me will just be the ones that are talking, which was fine because we were playing with the dog, whatever. And then it's like, okay, now let's do the painting. We just did the puzzle, took a break. Now let's do this. Sure enough, sat down. We're sitting in there talking, laughing, talking about new movies. We're watching movie trailers while we're doing painting and all that other stuff. So it's still background noise to him because I think that's what he's used to, is having background noise. Where me, I can sit in here all day with not a peep. But he always has to have some kind of background noise, which I didn't mind because the trailers were cool. And he was interested in showing them to me, getting excited about movies that were out or upcoming.
Okay.
So
on your laptop you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And and then it was.
But you said it was a good day. Like, you guys didn't have any conversations about your relationship? You guys didn't go down like the rabbit hole, like had too many to drink, and you guys start getting...
Nope. When I tell you this, it made me so happy that he actually listened to what I had to say with just, we'll get through it. This will be fine. It's a small hurdle that you and I together will get through because...
I'm talking about the money, jobs,
daughters. Yes.
Nothing relationship-wise, though. Like, no issues. Did you guys have a conversation about your relationship, or was it just about like
what's going on right now?
Got it.
I try to evoke it from him, so he gets it off his chest, because I call him the volcano where eventually he's going to erupt.
Right.
And what he has learned in his classes is to communicate, which is a huge thing in a relationship,
Right.
where he has been practicing communication. So he actually talks to me about things and unburdens himself. Put it on me. I'll sit there and try and figure it out for you. Like, I have almost everything. Not a worry. Just tell me. Get it out of you.
Right.
But it was, when I tell you, I was so happy. Like, it was such a good day. I kid you not. The weather was beautiful outside. I'm the one that had him go inside so we can do puzzles and painting and listen to music or whatever else he wants to do. So then he starts doing whatever it is we're doing together in the living room, and then starts talking, because I think he gets comfortable with, okay, you know what? We're here. It is a good day. Let me go ahead and explain myself. So I know. Nobody else knows, but I know. Nobody knew George better than I did. I say that I knew George better than himself. And I tried in every way, shape, and form. Ask everyone. I helped him. I took care of him. I missed him a lot, and I didn't even sleep last night. I miss him a lot.
I mean, is there any chance it got to be too much for you and you couldn't handle taking care of him and
I never stopped.
trying to?
I never stopped. That's what
That was a quick cry, and she got right back to normal. You know, it's very quick.
I'm here for. I never stopped. I'm here now because I'm still trying to help him.
Yeah, we just don't. I mean, it's unexplainable how he got these injuries, and
I have no idea.
you were the only one with him.
100% right hand to God. I have no idea how he got them. Nobody touched anybody. Nobody touched anybody.
Okay. You had mentioned that you would take photos, videos, kind of like a proof and just in general.
Yeah, I started documenting at one point, but that was way before, I think, the last time that he got arrested, where he was flying off the deep end. But then I had him bailed out. I got him out of jail.
Right.
But because he had violated the pretrial diversion, this time it's probation, so you don't have a choice in it. You have.
Folks in the chat are asking, yes, he died of asphyxia from being locked in that suitcase, the one in which she refused to let him out of as he begged for his life. She went upstairs and passed out and slept for 12 hours. And the next day when she woke up, what do you think happened to him? He was dead. Of course he was dead, because he died of asphyxia.
Have to go see your probation officer. You have to go to these classes. It's court ordered. Where it took him a while to get used to it and understand, they're not messing around. I even went down and met his probation officer, which I say she's wonderful. That's one of my questions too I need to talk to you about. Hugged me and said how much she knows that I take care of him. She called me personally one time when George was at work, when he was working. 42-minute phone call. She and I just saying how grateful she is that George has me. And she knows how hard I'm working to help him, just as she is and just as the classes will. So once he started actually going on a regular basis to the probation officer, and then to his substance abuse class and his, I don't know what VIP stands for, Matters Intervention Program, and actually listening to what it.
This is unbelievable. Like, he's in a substance abuse program, Batterers Intervention Program. Like, how many programs do you need to be in? Maybe this wasn't a relationship made in heaven. It sounds more like it was made in hell. And maybe you two should not have been together, since he likes to drink all the time, and so do you apparently. And then when he needs your help because he's locked in a suitcase, you just disregard him and you let him die. So the wonderful person you're describing yourself as is not passing the smell test, as we see from your own video. Isn't that amazing? That someone that's getting charged with murder videoed the most important evidence against themselves. Isn't that incredible? Can you make this stuff up? No. The old expression, truth is much stranger than fiction, is absolutely true. Because no one can make up this stuff. But when you see that it's true, it's unbelievable. Melanie shaking my damn head. She loves the attention. Isn't that the truth? She's going to roll the dice on her life when she could have pled guilty to manslaughter. And she's going to roll them. Maui Swift, always good to see a complete narcissist. She's unbelievable, right? So she's going to roll the dice and decide that, oh, no, I want to go to trial because I love the time in the limelight. So I'll take a chance of doing the rest of my life in prison just because I want my day in court. I want to have my ninth attorney represent me to the full talent, his full talent and his abilities. But I don't listen to him because I'm sure the attorney said, take the plea. Take the plea. Are you crazy? Take the plea. Can you imagine how these attorneys are like pulling their hair out, telling her, you've got to take the plea? And she won't do it because this is all about her. Back to the interview.
It is, everyone had to say, he changed. Like I could see a change in him, where before lashing out, he would think about it. And would always come home and show me his papers. And we would look over his papers together. Where it's like, wow, you actually are learning this in class? And some of the stuff that they would show them, like videos, he would come home and be like, Sarah, I'm so sorry for what I've done to you. Because for a video that he watches to make him feel that way, where it's like, oh man, I have done her wrong. But he's changed. He changed.
And that's why you're still with him, even though he's done all these things to you. And
when I tell you I love him, I love him.
Even when you love somebody, you have limits.
Everybody tells me that. All my neighbors don't tell me that. The office property manager.
At some point, somebody gets enough, then they have to do something to defend themselves.
I would just flee. And I don't know if you would like to see on my phone, or I think it's actually on a laptop. I actually, because, and you have to understand too, I have, like, prior to classes in PO, kicked him out. How many times? I had him arrested. How many times?
But you also went down and bailed him out.
I know.
The next day.
I know.
You know, isn't that a classic abuse relationship? She loves someone who's obviously not good for her, and she's probably not good for him either, because they just enable each other. And then he gets arrested and she goes and bails him out. It's like, it's just such a predictable thing. And it happens all the time. And the detective's even trying to reasoning with her about, yeah, he got arrested, and then you went down and bailed him out. So what's wrong with you? You know, what is wrong with you that you keep doing this? It perpetuates itself.
What was I going to tell you? Oh, previously, I actually looked up how to file a restraining order.
Okay.
Because I would take him out, his parents, because of them constantly having to take him back in, his bags of clothes, all his stuff. The last time, the father came out and irate and just not even, I don't even know if he knew Lucas was in the car, just opened the back of my car and just started throwing all his crap in, just throwing it. Like the car would jostle, he was throwing all his stuff. At that point, because I continually did it, not continually, I think I maybe did it 3 times, and he has nowhere else to go, they got fed up and said, nope, either you're staying there or you're staying here. But if you're staying here at their place, it's permanent. You're not going back over there anymore. So what happens is he pursues me. So I don't know if y'all know where Katie Way Trail is. Okay, so it's literally right there from our apartment. would ride his bike to work, but before he would leave extra early and come up to the wall, stand on top of his bike and poke his head over because he would know that I would be outside having my morning cigarette and cup of coffee. And I would also know too what time he would get off of work, where I would know, come getting off of work, he's gonna do the same thing. So it's not like I ever got like a break from him, where I told you all yesterday, or whenever it was, I started to feel that it was too much togetherness. And when you have too much togetherness, friction happens. So I'm gonna go ride my bike. I'm gonna go upstairs and read a book. But what does he say? Every waking moment, he wants to be with me. So, and mind you, our townhome is either upstairs or downstairs. So it's like, if you would like to sit downstairs and watch a movie or play on the laptop, look up some jobs, you're more than welcome to. I'm just gonna be upstairs, maybe watching one of my shows or maybe reading a book. So, and then when that would happen, we really needed that. So what's for dinner? And then we would cook together and eat dinner and then crawl in the bed and watch a movie.
Are you talking about this is like recent? I don't know, you kind of like lost me. Like when, what are you
It was
talking about?
a little while ago. But I mean,
now you're talking about tension building up and that you need space. So have you been feeling that way lately or?
No.
Okay.
No. Okay, my thing is too, so you all know, I hate that you can't talk to her, but Dee, his ex-wife, when I say a monster, she's a monster. Like she withholds their children from speaking to him. So he gets upset about that, and then she like completely berates him about money.
You know, knowing what she did here, why is she talking to detectives about her relationship with him? Does anyone have any idea? Why is she trying to act as if she has this wonderful relationship with this man when obviously it's a horror show? Folks, this is Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. If you like real crime, true crime from a police perspective, you're in the right place. And if you're not subscribed, just hit that subscribe button on the screen. Give us a thumbs up, hit the like button, share us with your friends and your families. If you want to contribute to us financially, we have a Patreon with 4 different levels. We also have a YouTube channel membership with 5 different levels. In fact, Carol Grayson just gave away 5 memberships to 5 lucky people to be on the Police Off the Cuff YouTube channel memberships. And we welcome you to the site. We welcome you to the YouTube family. Carol, I'm looking for where that is. There it is. I just went by it. There we go. Carol Grayson gifted 5 Police Off the Cuff memberships to the lucky 5 people that join our family. So welcome to the 5 lucky people. So basically, you know, the gist of this whole thing today is, of course, why would she not take this plea? And it's beyond. Well, it's not beyond, because when you think about this is her 9th attorney that she's gone through, or she went through 8 attorneys. This is the 9th. And I'm sure every attorney that works for her swears he's going to do, or she's going to do, the best they possibly can. But a case isn't supposed to take 4 years to go to trial. But because of the difficulty of this client, Sarah Boone, that is what, in fact, it's taking. Let's watch her testify a little bit on the stand with her 9th attorney.
Any further witnesses, evidence, or testimony, sir?
Judge, I'd like to call Sarah Boone.
Ms. Boone can approach the podium. She was previously sworn at the beginning.
She's chained around the waist with her hands in front. She's handcuffed. She's in
Yes, sir.
prison attire. She requested that she could
Hang on,
wear
the deputy's got to move.
civilian clothes when she goes on trial. She's walking up, going to be walking accompanied by the sheriffs to the witness box, and then she's going to raise her right hand and she's going to testify. I don't think she's any more believable here than she was in being interviewed by the detectives.
Ma'am, you've already been sworn. Counselor, you may proceed.
Ma'am, would you please state your full name?
Sarah Boone.
Well, you're going to have to speak up or move the mic.
Sarah Boone.
Yes.
Where are you currently housed?
At the Orange County Corrections Department.
Have you been there since February the 25th of 2020?
Correct.
Was that the date of this interrogation that we're here for on this motion?
Yes.
All right. Let me take you back to the morning of finding Jorge Torres in the suitcase. You called 911?
Yes.
Is it true that Detective or Deputy Kayla Rodriguez of the Sheriff's Department arrived?
Yes.
What mental state did you have at that time?
I was very confused. It was very hazy. I didn't understand the monumental amount of people that were there and what they were doing with taking things from my home. I was worried about my dogs. I was worried about my son. I was in shock. I was traumatized by the situation, and then trying to focus on everything that was going on at my home. I was hungover. I was still, I believe, intoxicated to a degree.
Objection, Judge.
I don't think her attorney really wanted her to admit that she was intoxicated. She's actually helping the prosecution by admitting to that.
Strike, this is outside their motion to suppress. They have not made any allegations that her statement was involuntary because of her mental state or state of intoxication.
Response?
Judge, we're talking about, I'm just getting some preliminary information.
But
Her interrogation is the next day.
the state has an obligation, and the case law cited by the state requires specificity in the motions. So it's not a game of 20 questions and a surprise.
Okay, this is the
Are
day
you-
before the interrogation.
I understand that.
We're not talking about an intoxication.
But are you going to be arguing anything in conclusion as to what happened on February 24th led to any coercive or coercion behavior on behalf of the Orange County Sheriff's Office on February 25? Are you going to bootstrap or link any of those things together?
The interrogation in the squad car and what was said to her prior to getting in the squad car that relates to what she said about it being routine protocol, yes.
All right, I'm going to sustain the state's objection.
Relating to the intoxication?
Yes. It wasn't raised in any of the three motions that have been filed.
Judge, I didn't ask her that. She volunteered that.
I understand it. Objection sustained and stricken.
Did you speak to the deputy about what had happened?
Yes.
Okay. And then were you asked to stay on scene?
By both, yes. By both detectives, yes.
Okay. How long did it take the detectives to arrive after you had spoken initially with Deputy Rodriguez?
It was not right away. I don't know specifically, but it was not quickly.
Okay. Did the two detectives, when they arrived, did they take over the investigation?
It was my understanding, yes.
No foundation for her to conclude anything.
Sustained.
At some point, were the detectives directing you what to do and where to go?
Yes.
Okay. Can you explain what the detectives told you as it relates to you getting in the car? What was the phone issue before the car?
Yes.
Sustained.
Let me ask you about the phone. When were you first asked about your phone?
From my remembering, it was once they arrived, one of the first questions that Hopesall asked me was if I owned a phone.
And what did you tell her?
I told her it was on the kitchen counter.
All right. And what happened next as it relates to the phone?
I believe that it was brought to her with someone else. I don't remember.
Sustained.
What was the next thing that you were told or talked to about as it relates to the phone?
Unlock it.
Who told you that?
Detective Hopesall.
How did you unlock it?
She handed it to me and I unlocked it.
How do you unlock your phone?
It was with a passcode.
Okay. And when you unlocked it, did you give it back to the detective?
I did.
All right. Did you ever see the phone again?
I did not.
Okay. After that incident, was the next time you were spoken to by Detective Copesel was in relation to the interview in the squad car?
Yes, she told me I needed to go with her and Detective Lowen to her unmarked vehicle.
And did she tell you anything about what was going to take place once y'all got inside the vehicle?
That she was just going to be asking me general questions.
Was there ever any mention about normal protocol?
Not that I can recall.
Okay. What about once you got in the squad car?
I don't recall the squad car.
Okay. And that was recorded for the court to consider. And so,
Elaine McKenzie, thank you for the 10-pound super sticker. Your comments, I'm convinced any abuse Sarah suffered was reactive abuse. She caused the scene and Jorge reacted. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they had the healthiest relationship. They probably were two people that didn't belong together. They fed on each other's perhaps alcoholism. They both seemed to drink too much, and they had problems in their relationship, yet I think Sarah Boone thought she could fix it somehow, and meanwhile she has just as many problems as Jorge did, right? So let's get back to her testimony.
so she read you your Miranda rights?
Yes.
All right. Did you answer the questions?
I did.
Did they ever indicate to you that you were a suspect?
No.
Did they ever indicate to you that you were a person of interest?
No.
Did they ever refer to the videos that you recorded on your phone from the night before?
No.
Were you ever questioned about those videos at the scene?
I was not.
All right, after they finished interviewing you in the unmarked vehicle, were you allowed to get out?
Yes.
Were you allowed to leave the scene at that point?
I was instructed by those to not.
Okay. And how long did you stay on the scene?
The entire time.
How long was that? How long did it take before the investigation was completed?
10 hours or more.
Okay. At some point, did they all leave?
Yes.
And at some point, did they tell you they were finished with the work there at the scene?
Yes.
Okay. What did you do?
I went inside my apartment and gathered a few things, and then I went to my former husband's residence where my son was located.
All right. And how far was that away?
About 5 minutes.
How did you get there?
I drove
Okay. What was the reason that you wanted to stay over there the night?
because I was terrified of his family.
Now, later that evening,
You know, a curious thing also is that when she woke up in the morning, rather than her call 911, she called her ex-husband. That wasn't in her favor to do that. So she's got a dead boyfriend, and she alleged that she tried to perform CPR. I have serious reservations about that. But then instead of calling 911 right away, she calls her ex-husband. So that doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense.
you were going to spend the night there with your son and with your ex-husband?
Correct.
And did you do that?
My son, yes.
All right. Later that evening, did you attempt to contact Detective Copesel?
I did.
And whose phone did you use?
Former husband, Brian Boone.
You said your phone had been seized?
Correct.
And you had consented to that? You signed a form allowing them to take the phone?
Yes.
Have there been any discussion about returning the phone?
Copesel told me she or Lowen or both would return back to my apartment to return my phone
And when did they tell you this?
before they left the scene.
And did they tell you they would return your phone where?
To myself at the apartment.
And is that what you understood they were going to do?
Yes.
Was there ever any talk about you coming to the sheriff's department the day of this event?
No.
All right, so later that evening, you borrowed your ex-husband Brian Boone's phone and made a phone call. How did you know Detective Copsel's private cell number?
She gave it to me before she left the scene.
And did you call her?
I did.
Do you recall about what time you called her?
I believe it was around 9:30 or 10 o'clock.
And that would have been on February the 24th of 2020?
Yes.
All right, can you tell us why you were calling her that night?
Before she left and giving me her personal cell phone number, she told me if I were to recall anything or if I just wanted to talk to her about something regarding the case for me to call her. So I took that to heart and felt very uneasy about how they left the scene.
Sustained.
Go ahead.
Elaine McKenzie from the chat. Sarah's ex-husband said she used to attack him out of nowhere when she was intoxicated. She would go for his neck and scratch him. He is a larger man that could contain her easily, though. So I think that probably the same type of relationship was happening with Jorge, and that he wound up, of course, dead inside a suitcase.
There's no pending question at this time.
Okay, you were concerned about the case and you wanted to call her?
Yes.
And did you talk to her?
Yes.
What did you say to her?
I told her, in all honesty, that I felt that she was trying to trick me.
Objection. You're eligible under state law.
Sustained.
Did you have a conversation about your phone?
Yes. I asked her.
Answered.
Overruled. You may answer the question, ma'am.
Did you call for a yes or no? She said yes, and now I don't know what's pending and how to object.
Did y'all have a discussion about your phone?
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that discussion?
She told me that I needed to come down to the sheriff's department because she was pregnant and asked me if I remembered about when I was being pregnant, and it would just be a lot easier for her if I were to arrive at the sheriff's department to pick up my phone.
Was there any discussion about you being interrogated at the sheriff's department?
No.
Was your understanding the sole purpose of you going to the sheriff's department the next day was to pick up your phone?
Yes.
And the sole reason for the change in plans from them bringing the phone to you was because Detective Copsel was pregnant and not feeling well?
Correct.
So the next afternoon, did you drive to the sheriff's department? Tell us, when you parked your car, where you went, what happened?
I parked my.
Well, this is the interview the next day after the murder, and we showed some of the interview earlier on, and the attorney here is just simply trying to act like she was tricked to go in there, and that she therefore the police did something wrong, and in essence that's not true. The police can use a ruse to get you in there. They spoke to her. She agreed to give them their phone. I'm sure that they got a search warrant on her phone. They discovered that horrible video of Jorge in that suitcase. And that is really, when we think about this case, that is this whole case, is that video is just so powerful. And any human being that sees that video, watches that video, I don't see how Sarah Boone has any chance in hell to beat this case when this video that I'm putting up on the screen right now is the evidence for the state.
Sarah.
There's Jorge calling out from a suitcase, "Let me out of here."
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
You.
Sarah.
You.
Sarah.
Stupid.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it up.
Sarah. I can't breathe, babe. Seriously.
Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me.
Sarah. Sarah. Sarah.
I don't think I even have to play the rest of it for you guys. You've seen that. That was the video of Jorge in the suitcase begging for his life, of course. What did she do? She went upstairs. She was drunk. She passed out, left him there. The next morning, he was dead. So to update this case, today's sort of big surprise for everyone is that Sarah Boone was offered again to plead to manslaughter. And she said, I reject it. I reject the offer. The judge asked her, do you understand what that means? And clearly she did. I don't know if her attorneys will get another chance to get her to agree to that. But so far, they're not going to offer it. You know, it's not a blank check. So she turned down the offer. Now, apparently she's going to go to trial. The jury will resume being chosen on Monday, October 14th, because of Hurricane Milton, which is supposed to hit the west coast of Florida, actually this Wednesday. So they don't know what's going to happen. So they put it off. But again, the big news for today in the Sarah Boone case was that she turned down a plea to manslaughter, and she's chosen to proceed and go to trial. Folks, this is Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. Tonight at 9 p.m., I'm going to be on the air with retired NYPD Sergeant Mike Geary, and we're going to cover a quadruple homicide that happened over a year ago in Romeoville, Chicago. The family of four, and the twists and turns in this case makes it very interesting, but a very, very, very disturbing case. So that's what I'm going to be covering tonight with Professor Mike Geary. So, folks, thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. I'm Bill Cannon from Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. Have a great rest of your day, night. Hope I see you at 9 o'clock tonight. We'll see you then, and God bless.
One episode just ain't enough.